stand up. Make some noise for Mr. Sean Astin! Welcome. We love you. Thank you for being here.
Look at this couch. I'm like falling into the couch.
No,
Hey fans, this panel recording is sponsored by those hard-working hobbits over at 80stees.com. They have great shirts to show off your love of Lord of the Rings, the Goonies, Stranger Things, and even stranger things than that. Use coupon code FSASTIN to get 30% off on your next order on 80stees.com. Now, on to the panel.
how do you go off that energy high? You're like, I'm just going to take
That
a
was
nap,
amazing.
right?
Holy mackerel.
I love Awesomecon. The fans are fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of my absolute favorites. It's been a while. It's good to be back. We're competing with the Capitol but here we are.
Well, we're right by it, so we're really all working together for the common goal. I love it. So folks here have already lined up to get their questions.
We could probably get more done in this room in the next hour than they get done in a year.
Punch it in. Give me knuckles. I'm agreeing. Yeah, I love it. Question to you over here first, sir. The floor is yours. Mike's not on. There it is. You're good now.
That's Chris from San Antonio. What up, Chris?
Hey, what's up, Sean? So as an avid Tolkien reader, to say that you brought to life my absolute favorite character and did so beautifully is a massive understatement.
That's a pretty nice statement. If statements go, I take that statement.
That being said, what is it you just love so much, or what brings you so much joy about having brought Samwise to life?
Well stated, sir. I think, it's a question that's specific to Samwise, but to anybody who's been in the line and I've talked to signing autographs for the last couple of days, the fact that Lord of the Rings brings people together, each year when they came out, it was like, oh, we're waiting for my son to get back from Afghanistan, or oh, my daughter is coming back from college and we're going to wait, and in between Christmas and New Year's, we're all going to watch the trilogy, we're all going to watch the next one, and people talk about it like that, like this is, my father turned me on to this, and we watch it once a year together, and so just to know that I had a part in something that has that kind of, and it's also, I was on the local affiliate, Fox affiliate here on Thursday morning, and they want to know, what do people ask you? What do people want to talk about? And they're like, they talked about Goonies, they talked about Rudy, they talked about whatever. And I said, so many people want to talk about how Lord of the Rings helped get them through a hard time. Yep. The themes of this movie, and that Samwise is so important in, are like the nature of good and evil. And even darkness will pass and a new day will come, and there's good in the world and it's worth fighting for. And it's just an engine of creative affirmation of what it means to persevere and survive and heal. And the elves, you go to a place and it's designed just to heal you. Really? I can go to a spa. Is that the same thing? Get a massage. It's like an elf paradise. But so that's just it. Knowing that I'm participating in a cultural, you could say a franchise, but basically a world that Tolkien created that's meant to be life affirming. So there you go.
That's a great answer.
Thank you so much.
And as someone, who always reads the books first, to try to produce something on the screen that lives up to what it meant to me in print is no easy task. And it was everyone coming together to make that a reality.
I had a guy come up to me in the line. Everyone always says that it was what they imagined,
yes,
or better than what they imagined. But this one person came up and they're like, Sauron was over the top. And what was wrong with,
what do you do with that?
I was like, I have to reflect on that a little bit, that's interesting. It's the first time I've heard that, they went down a whole list of characters they had issues with. It was awesome.
They put a lot of thought into those criticisms.
Well, they just it's upsetting to them, and they didn't have any place to put that, because
so they said it.
So you tell Sam, he'll take it on board.
Love it. Hi, how are you? You have a question. Hi.
Hello again, Scene.
Hello again, my dear.
Sean.
Scene
Hello
works.
again, Sean.
That's all right. Hello, my lord.
Remember how you gave me $20?
Where's my $20?
Let me tell you why that's wrong. Can I tell you why what you said is not correct? Can I tell you?
Sorry.
No, but you don't know. I'm going to teach you something.
I do.
I didn't
You
get...
gave me 20.
No. You're using the wrong word. I did not give you $20. I paid you $20. And you were paid $20 to do what?
Play D&D for you.
On my behalf, that's correct. Because I had made a commitment in a cameo that I did that I would play with this family, and they're like, well, you're here now, do you want to play? And I'm like, will you do it for me? I'll pay you. And what's the deal? We have a deal on the back end. What's the back end deal?
I'm gonna give you half of my earnings.
There you go. But again, language is important. You're not going to give me half your earnings. You're going to give me half of your profits. Your earnings are yours.
But
It's very important. My kids won't let me tell them any of this stuff, so I have to meet people at a convention to tell them.
Someday when this child is a multimillionaire, you know what
I'm
happened
gonna
at
kill
this
it.
Comic-Con?
Yeah.
he wanted to show you his shield that he bought with
I've been admiring it from over here. It's gorgeous.
He bought that with the money.
With the
he wanted-
profits.
With the money. Oh, with the 20
profits.
bucks.
Yes, he wanted
You
to-
earned that.
Thank
You earned that. Well done.
You are very welcome.
And then I was wondering, Mr. Two Flower, what
Yeah.
your favorite Pratchett project is and which you would like to film besides the ones you've done.
Well, so Terry Pratchett, for those of you who don't know, is an amazing...
He and
right.
Neil Gaiman, I'm done. Like, that's all I need.
Yeah. I mean, so we did, as a two-part series, we did The Color of Magic and The Light Fantastic. So I would just want to I want to do the whole Discworld series if I could. All 17 books of them, Yeah.
Thank you for your question. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Nice shield. Question over here, sir.
Hi, Sean. I'm Jay from Omaha, Nebraska. You've done a lot of roles, but ones that I've been really into were kind of some of your more thriller-esque roles. Toy Soldiers, Icebreaker. I loved when you were Lynn McGill in 24, so I just wanted to know what your experience was filming those type of roles.
Oh, thank you for that. I'll be in Omaha in, I don't know, August, September, October, somewhere in there. I'm actually giving 2 talks in Nebraska, 2 days apart, about mental health advocacy. So anyhow, so I'll see you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm carrying on my mom's legacy of advocacy. So those are great. Those are great. I mean, what people if I said Sean Bean, right? You guys know who Sean Bean is, right? And what is one of the things we know about Sean Bean? He dies. He dies spectacularly in everything he's in. I think I could go head to head with Sean Bean for the films I've died in and the shows I've died in. I want to be known as that guy, I'd like to get cast in a show where I go past 8 episodes. Like I died in The Strain. I don't know if you guys remember The Strain. Obviously, Stranger Things, I died in episode 8. Lynn McGill's like episode 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there I died. Centox nerve gas attack. Generally, I get to save people as I'm dying.
It's a heroic death.
No, but a heroic death. That's all I want is a heroic death. But I like creating suspense. Like my kids and wife, 2 of the kids, are watching Stranger Things from the beginning. We all watched the first season on Thursday. They watched the second season yesterday or whatever. Yesterday they finished it. And they called me when I got home from the con and they're like, you just died again, Dad. I was like, was it a good death? They're like, yeah, it was good. And then we started talking about like, I'm in the closet and there's like barely any light on me and I'm breathing like it's coming, and then I go out and in slow motion, I accidentally kick the broom and the broom falls and you know that it's gonna make a sound like that. Creating those moments, I feel like that's in my bones. I feel like I know how to do that and I love doing it. And generally it involves running down a hallway of some sort, crashing through some sort of a doorway. I'm very good at doorway crashing. Sliding, like in Toy Soldiers, I get to like run and slide down a thing. Anything, if I lose a little bit of weight, I could probably got a few sliding hallway running scenes left in me, so yeah.
Awesome question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, question over here.
Hi, I'm Allie from Alexandria, Virginia, and my question is, if you went on your own epic journey, who would you take with you and what would you pack in your backpack?
Oh my. Oh my. Well, one of my most important, or at least to me, life accomplishments was I did the Ironman Kona Triathlon in 2016. And if any of you know someone who's done a marathon or a triathlon or a 10K or something like that, that's all we want to talk about. It's incredibly irritating for people to have to listen. Let me tell you about the bike, and did I tell you the swim? And
But if you're doing it, we were late. We're like, did you chafe? Like, how are your toenails?
That's good. You're into the conversation.
100%.
We're in a winner mode right now.
Yeah.
My wife's like so patient, she's like, and you're all alone for 15 and a half hours. All alone. I won't take up too much of our time talking about this, but it is one of my all-time accomplishments. And in terms of what I packed, like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. There were those goos, the running goos, and you've got water. And then on the road, the people hand you Coca-Cola. It's a weird thing. Well, they do that, endurance runners, because the sugar goes to your brain basically instantly. So, and then you can't walk afterwards. But I would, on the journey of life that I'm in right now, is my wife Christine. We're celebrating our 30th anniversary on.
Happy anniversary!
Yeah.
Happy anniversary!
So, as a wife and as a mother to our 3 daughters, she is Samwise Gamgee. She is when she can pull anything out of the bag. You're like, oh, I have a stomach ache. Oh, hold on. Boop. She's like a pharmacy. You know what I mean? If whatever it is, she knows. We're like hoarders. We have crap all over the house and in the garage and stuff. And I'm like, oh, where's that drum kit, that electric drum kit? And she's like, oh, hold on. Boop, 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 boop. And she comes out and she's like the luggage in Color of Magic. She's got, you open it up and it's just anything you want is in there. So she is indefatigable. She is loyal to, she's Samwise. She's my Samwise, and in the extreme of that idea. So there you go.
Great question, Allie. I've been with my husband since '95, so I appreciate hearing that.
You'll catch up.
Yeah, I do have to ask you this though. Excuse me, I dropped my phone. My question to you. Look at you. I can grab it, but thank you. I know now. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I love it. My question to you is a little bit about what you want next. What are you looking for, a role that you want to tackle that you haven't had an opportunity to dive into yet?
It's an interesting question for me at the moment. So, my COVID accomplishment was going to be learning the guitar, and I spent a couple 100 hours. I've got them marked with my little guitar tutor thing. Look, and I'm terrible. I'm absolutely, I love it. I'll sit up in my room and sing my guts out and play, but you're just like, how can you spend that much time at something and not, Rudy, right? Rudy tried so hard and he finally got in the game. He played 27 seconds, of his entire high school career. He got in 27 seconds. I'm not even good enough to be Rudy on the guitar. So then I figured out how to get into, I'm actually getting a master's. I'm getting a master's in public administration and public policy.
Okay.
From American University right here in DC. And
I like this.
And that's where my focus is. And my kids are a little bit like, Dad, do you have an audition? Are you reading a script, whatever? And I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, no, I'll figure it. But my focus is getting this degree and this knowledge. It's so hard. My brain is in so much pain trying to keep up with these kids. But when it comes to, there's one project that I've been developing for a while that is, I don't think I'm allowed to talk about it.
That's promising. That means it's got life.
It's an important historical figure. American historical figure. So you can start your curiosity if you're interested to figure that out. But and we sort of envision it as a 7 episode something or other. So, and that, what I like about it is that we actually have an opportunity to comment on history and American life in a way it deals in the past, but it's incredibly relevant. And I think right now American political life is so damaged, and it's not just dysfunctional, it's almost dead on arrival. And some good people are going to have to start imbuing the idea of American democracy and American government and state government with responsibility and integrity and passion and like these kinds of so I love that's a show that
You
can do
hear,
that.
yeah. I will keep every finger crossed for you that it comes to light. Question over here.
Hi, Sean. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Lord of the Rings, Sam, perfect. Rudy, as I mentioned earlier, resonated with me so much as an athlete, so thank you for doing that role.
She's a basketball player.
I also loved you as Bob in Stranger Things.
Not a basketball player.
Not a basketball player. Still a superhero, though.
Yes.
Still a superhero.
Yes.
Noah was just here, and someone asked a question about, how far ahead does he know about what his trajectory is going to be in the show? We lost you in one season. Did you know that you were going to die at the end?
I thought I was going to die a lot sooner. The first day of filming...
I'm glad you didn't.
Me too. Me too. I was just happy to be invited to the party, frankly. The first character I auditioned for was actually the reporter, the investigative reporter character. And I thought I did a good audition. And the funny thing is, Elizabeth, my middle child, is the one who worked on the audition with me. And they saw it and they're like, we loved it. It was so good. But we want you to come back for this other character, Bob. Well, Elizabeth had like a final or something, so she couldn't help me. So my youngest daughter, Bella, helped me. And we worked on it. And then I got the part of Bob. So she lords it over the other one that she helped me with the part that I actually got.
As a younger child, I totally am happy about that.
But they didn't say, but they were like, we think you're probably going to make it about 3 or 4 episodes. So I was like, okay, well, so I'll come in and be like that. And my first day of filming was a scene where the brothers are sitting on the bed. Will's sitting on the bed, and he's saying to him, look, do you want to be, he's feeling isolated. He's like, everybody treats me different now. Everybody, the kids, and he's like, well, look, there's Billy Idol people and there's Kenny Rogers people. Who do you want to be? And I walk by and I go, Kenny Rogers, I love Kenny Rogers. So, and at that moment, that line, I love Kenny Rogers, you're like, that's Bob. That's Bob. You want that person in your life. He's guileless. He's lovely. He's just there to be affirming. You've just spent a year, a whole season with Joyce being tortured. And so now you're like, oh, and you've shipped her with Hopper, but then you don't even know if that's going to be good for her. And so now there's like, Bob's there. And so they were like, you could tell they were going to keep me around. You could tell they were going to keep me around a little bit. And I just kept saying, hey, guys, can you just let me do something heroic? Even if it's not like a big thing, some little thing. I was like, I promise you, if I'm wanting to do that, then the audience is going to want me to do it too. It's just something and they're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And every scene, when I was on the set, I'd be like, have you thought about the heroism thing? I was like, really? They're like, we get it. You want to do something heroic, right? And I was like, okay, I pushed it too far. And then I didn't talk to them for weeks and weeks while they were filming other episodes or, a Millie episode that was in Chicago at some point. And then I get the script and I'm like, it's Die Hard. I get to be, I'm like Sigourney Weaver in Aliens. Like I get to go into the thing and and Paul Reiser's there, like right in my ear. I mean, they're so clever. The Duffers are so clever with how they like just borrow from our culture, and they're both creating something new and they're honoring something old. But I just looked at my death in that, and I was like, just so grateful because you just knew. And then they were saying that as they were writing Killing Bob, he said it took them. He said in episode 6 they started to write it and they couldn't do it. They're like, we can't kill him yet. We can't kill him yet. And he's like, and as they were going through, they designed the character to be killed. As my daughter said after she watched it, Dad, it was Stranger Things. Somebody had to die. I'm like, but how was my death? She goes, sad. But and then finally they were like, we knew that was the episode. They knew I couldn't last that episode. They had to kill me. That was the way they designed it. And they were like, they felt so bad. He's like, I had nightmares. I didn't want to kill Bob. And you could see like the feeling that the fans have towards the characters and towards the story and towards the world and towards the show, the creators have for themselves and for the show. I think a lot of times in shows there's a little bit of a disconnect. You know, people, there's a little bit, I don't want to say ego, but there's like, I don't know, sometimes there just isn't a pure portal between the creator and the audience. And this one there is. And like how he felt about killing it, he really was upset. And so that was nice.
Thank you.
To upset him.
Rudy all the way. Thank you.
Thank you. Question over here.
Hi, I'm Amanda from Virginia. My question is, so Billy talked a lot about like pranks and things that happened on the set when he was here last year. So did you witness or partake in any particularly like epic pranks or shenanigans on set?
I observed many. I think I was suffering so much that they left me alone. Yeah, thank you. That was compassion right there. That was empathy.
It was.
I appreciate that. I saw things that I maybe the statute of limitations has run out, like they wouldn't get in trouble. 20 years later.
Tell me more.
Well, there was things that involved, I don't even want to share it.
I don't want to get you in trouble, but
you know
tell me
that at Halloween, the prank that people play where they put a bag on someone's door and they light it on fire? Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Rather than that, I liked it when Vigo would run around and like he would have bought chocolates from somewhere and he would just, like a weird Strider Easter bunny, he'd just walk over and just drop off chocolates and walk away. And you're like... So I know that's not a prank, but it's like, I don't know, it's in that playful tone, I guess.
It's a fond memory.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, question over here.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Sean. How are you?
Good. Hi.
My name is Jocelyn, and I'm originally from Bolivia. I have my boyfriend on the FaceTime, but we are huge Lord of the Rings
That was
fans.
very proprietary, wasn't it? She's like, and my boyfriend is on the phone. My boyfriend.
Sorry.
Right here.
Right?
Is he in Bolivia?
No, he's in DC, but
He's in DC.
He couldn't make
He
it.
just couldn't be bothered to come down to our hall here.
He
That's
couldn't
fine.
make
That's
it,
fine.
unfortunately.
Go on. What's his name?
Nick.
Nick, what's your question? Or is it your question?
It's our question.
It's your question together. All right, well, you got to point him to me so I can see him.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Hey, Nick.
Ooh la la. Hello, Nick. Nice to see you. Wow. He kind of looks like, well, kind of like Gimli, actually, but he's sort of... But no, he looks like a warrior of some kind. Okay, what's the question?
So we're huge Lord of the Rings fans, and Lord of the Rings meant so much to me, especially growing up. From Samwise, or your character, what's one of the biggest takeaways that you say you would take from Lord of the Rings? The biggest life lessons you think it would?
From the making the movies or from the story?
From the story itself.
Well, there's so much.
I know.
There's so much. A guy had a tattoo yesterday of Gollum, like a really good, just looked incredible rendition of Gollum. And I was sort of, not teasing him, but just kind of like, blah, blah, blah. And he said, I said, why? Why Gollum? Why that big of a Gollum on your thing? And he said, basically, he said, it reminds me not to be greedy, basically, not to take things too much, to be willing to be generous and give a little bit. What an amazing thing to take out of Gollum, right? It's exactly what he's supposed to be, but somehow he's got, Gollum, like you think of him for the spectacular creature that he is, but the lesson to learn from him. I also very much like the Ents. I really like how they, this was written during the Industrial Revolution. It's an environmental treatise as much as it is anything else. It's about, the trees coming to life to fight against, industry to protect their world. And I just wonder, I read something in a journal or something not too long ago that said that real art nowadays really needs to be addressing the climate issue. That other than anything else that we do, that it's an existential threat that is coming at us at 1,000 miles an hour, and most people have just got their head in the sand. So the idea that Tolkien was writing at a time where the natural landscape was just being blighted by the industry, and that he was able to manifest this thing. I don't know. That's maybe one of them. I don't know. There's so much. There's so much teamwork, perseverance, faith. There's I don't know. Too hard a question. Tell good-looking, dreamy eyes. I'll think about it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question. Thank you. And speaking of Billy, nice shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
'Tis the friendship onion.
Repping his podcast.
Right. I'm Stephen from Arlington, Virginia, and Sean, my question for you is, when you were making The Lord of the Rings, and whether it was when you were living in New Zealand or making the movies themselves, what memory do you relive most often in your head?
Ooh, that's a nice way to ask that. Interesting. What do I most often relive in my head? Well, see, for 20 years I've been coming to conventions. And each convention, I've probably done over 100 in the 20 years. And I meet a couple hundred people each convention. And depending on how the line is and how fast we need to go for whatever, I meet people. And people tell me their story and their experience, or they're asking me certain questions about things they're interested in. And so it's like TikTok. I get a question, I'm brought to a memory. Next person steps up, they ask a question, tell me a story, I'm brought to another memory. Do you know what I mean? There's so many now that I go through. There's being in the helicopters. But when you ask relive it, I go, you spend so much time training for a triathlon. 1,000 hours. When somebody asks me about me, and it's a mental exercise much more than it's a physical exercise. And so when I think about me, Sean, myself, what am I focused on? I go right into, if you did anything for 2,000 hours, that'd be what you think about most of the time. So I've spent 2,000 hours on the road. So I go right to there. And when I'm on the road, what I think about is, what do I think about? There's so much. I think on the first day of production, they brought a couple of Maori elders. If you don't know who the Maori are, they're the indigenous people. They're the islanders, the Polynesian people. I don't know if they're Polynesian, but anyhow, they're the indigenous people of New Zealand, the Maori. They do incredible tattoos and mocha. Their whole face is tattooed, and it's just an amazing culture. They came to bless the production. And it was a very meaningful ceremony. We had been training for 6 weeks. We, the actors. Other people, the crew, had been there for months. Some people on the special effects side of things had been there 8 months, 9 months. But in terms of principal photography, the main shooting of the movie, we were there. And everyone knew this was a huge undertaking. We're making 3 movies at the same time. These books are known all over the world. The prosthetic makeup, just all the orc costumes, just the sets that they were building, the miniatures. It was like battle. It was like World War II, staging all of the pieces before you're going to. So we're on the precipice of beginning this thing, and people were excited but scared a little. There's a serious can we do this? Is what we're claiming we're going to be able to do and what we're endeavoring to do, can you actually, it might look like it after the fact, oh, that was successful, it was destined to be, we did not know what was going to happen. And, so these Maori elders blessed the production, and the one man said, the land has been here long before you. And by you, he meant humanity. And it will be here long after you are gone. So it's essentially your responsibility to be a steward of the land while you're here. And you could almost sense, when you be on the volcano, Mount Ruapehu, where we did the Mount Doom stuff in Taupo, it was in the middle, there's a big lake in the middle of the North Island, right? If you were to throw trash away, or if you were to defile the experience in some way with how you talked or what you did, you could almost get a sense that it wouldn't go well for you. Do you know what I mean? Like it was like you don't do that. There's certain things you don't do. There's like a moral, there's a spiritual etiquette to existing on that movie. It really all time. But because of the ideas of this movie, because Tolkien chose a volcano to be the source of evil and the place to which you have to return this evil creation in order, the only place evil can be destroyed is from where it was created. And we're filming on an active volcano where you can smell the sulfur and it's rumbling all the time. Like there was something just so important. It was important. It was the ideas were important. The emotions were important. What we were doing. That's why it's fun to talk about the guys being, pranksters with each other and that sort of, like mischievous and that there's tons of that kind of stuff. But on some level, in a very real way, when you're showing up to work each day and you know that everyone around you is doing the best work of their career, no one in that movie will ever do anything that's more important than what we're doing right now. And we're there day after day after day after day after day. And you're like, you just know, kind of like what I imagine it's like for warriors. When you go there, like there's just a kind of weight to what you're experiencing, a collective understanding within yourself about what you're doing. And that like, it's like a warm just blanket that covers you, and it's always a part of you. It's always a part of you. So I can be just as playful as anybody talking about Lord of the Rings, but under the hood, like where it counts, you know that this was a communication to the world that was deeply meaningful. So I think that's what I would take with me.
Thanks, Sean.
Amazing. We have time for maybe one or two more questions. Question over here.
Hi, Sean. I'm Laura from Washington, D.C. I just want to thank you on behalf of this whole crowd, I'm sure, for being part of bringing to life one of our favorite books in the world. My question is the same question that I asked Billy Boyd when he was here last year, which is...
Well, I'll get it right. I don't know what that knucklehead said. Come on.
Is there a particular quote or moment in the books that is especially meaningful to you personally?
Well, so I have this book club now called Fable. It's fable.co is a site, a platform now that has book clubs and lots of different kind of curators and so forth. And so I have a book club, and we actually got the rights to Lord of the Rings, which I was shocked that we were able to get them. So we're halfway through Lord of the Rings right now, and I am just so kind of in awe as you just go through the language, chapter after chapter, at like just how good it is, just how meaningful and how rich. And so, I mean, it's hardwired into my head, the Samwise quotes, there's some good left in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth, even darkness must pass and a new day will come, and when the sun shines, it'll shine out the clear. So those are like default. And then I also, I think about the movie. I love that in the movie, I don't know if it's in the books, it's probably not in the book, but when Haldir comes to Minas Tirith, right? To Helm's Deep. Comes to Helm's Deep, right? And he says, we've come to honor the alliance of elves and men. Or when Aragorn says, my friends, you bow to no one. There's a like, just take a seat. I'll just, oh, there's that one. Oh, there's another one there. Yeah, there's some of them that when I read them, I'm like, ooh, I should cut that out and like be able to read that at a con. That's like such a good passage. So, but it's like asking if I have a favorite biblical quote. It's like, well, I don't know. I gotta think about it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Question over here.
Hi.
These are all my people that I know from my lines. I'm seeing everybody again. Yeah.
Hello again. Yes. I'm Amber from Winchester, and I know that you've played a lot of iconic characters. I mean, enough to fill this room here. Is there any piece from a character that you've played that you have taken into your own life?
That's a great question.
Yeah. Winchester.
Virginia.
I've spent a lot of time in Winchester, Virginia.
Oh, nice.
I was the, at the Apple Blossom Festival.
Yes.
Yeah, I was the grand whatever, I was, marshal at and then my daughters each one. The third one's like, do I get to do it? I'm like, there's a pandemic. I'll let you know. But yeah, no, we spent a lot of time there. I also did, I think I did a half marathon there in Winchester. Yeah. I know your neck of the woods. Good people. Interesting. People always, actors a lot of times will say that they bring who they are into their character. And I've been able, a lot of the characters I've played are these, or at least the ones that have connected, are the ones who have heart. The ones that are inspiring, that are loyal, or they're determined. And people kind of like identify with the determination of those characters. That is me. Those qualities, maybe not in the pure crystalline, essence that Sam is. Like Sam's a literary character that's an ideal, right? But I do have that. I mean, how I'm getting through grad school. I mean, it's just like hard work and my head is down. I'm trying to get it done. So I hope I don't lose that sense of, it's really about dreaming. It's that idea that I never knew that you could dream in the sense that I'm describing, like there's something in this world that you want, that you might be able to achieve. I was 21 when I did Rudy. And Rudy kept talking about how, you guys, just good for my ego. Or maybe they were cheering for the real Rudy. I mean, that might have been. I don't know. I cheer for the real one. I was texting with his son yesterday. Anyhow, because his son is making a film at like university, like in Arizona University, something like that. And he was talking to Gino, who is a makeup artist for Lord of the Rings, and it's the whole world just comes down to like everybody. So, but that idea, he was like, it was my dream to play football for Notre Dame. It was my dream to do that. It was my dream to do that. That phrase, my dream, like, you can have dreams. It's like I needed somebody to tap me on the shoulder and go like, you can have dreams. Now I had a million dreams, but I didn't think of it consciously. And so the idea of remembering that you can dream, I've started a million projects and failed, and those failures are almost as notable in my mind as the things that I've succeeded at. Maybe more so because like you're trying and there's no release for it. So, movies or whatever, but like, I got into this grad school thing, and that's a dream. It was always a dream of mine. And my wife's like, why are you, they just don't know why I'm investing so much energy for something where you don't know what the payoff is. I'm like, the thing is the payoff, the doing of the thing. And that, So that idea of what I hope I can take away from some of the characters is to remember our capacity to dream. And if you have 100 dreams and 2 come true, you had 2 dreams come true. You know what I mean? So like there's some things that you want, and no matter how, like me with the guitar, I just don't know if I will ever. I've told my daughter's embarrassed by my youngest daughter. They're embarrassed by everything. Kids are always embarrassed by everything. But she's like, Dad, I don't want you to play the guitar in front of people. Because a couple of songs I can do are okay, but like I'm not that good. And I'm like, oh no? And she goes, no, please don't do that. I'm like, I swear to God, in a stadium in front of 80,000 people with a guitar around my neck, and I'm going to sing a song, and you're going to have to know it that I'm doing that. So, and it will happen. I know it'll happen, and audiences are very forgiving. You're like, oh, the little fellow wants to play a song, so if we can put up with it, that'd be great. Thank you so much. And I'll do like a little better than expected, and be like, oh my gosh. Well, you finished that. Good for you, So, but dreaming, remembering to dream, that's what I take with me.
Sean, I want to remember this moment with the selfie. All right, let's give it up for Mr. Sean Astin.
I love you all. Bless you.
Hello, fans. Just a reminder that this panel was sponsored by your fellow fans over at 80stees.com. And they have a treasure ship full of shirts to represent so many fandoms, including Goonies, Lord of the Rings, and Stranger Things. And coupon code FSAstin will get you 30% off your next order. Just go to 80stees.com. You don't even need a map to find these treasures. See you next time.
Hi, this is Michael Shanks, and you're watching Fandom Spotlite. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. The fate of the universe may depend on it. And have fun. and follow your fandom.